Hello everybody, my name is Tanurian. Today, instead of anything musical related, I thought I'd take a little bit of a break, focus on something that interests me personally. As you could tell by the title up here, it is the newest trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, don't want to play it yet. So if you are a fan of Legend of Zelda and have not played Breath of the Wild, or you don't want to spoil yourself for Tears of the Kingdom, this is your spoiler warning because I personally believe that this trailer contains some pretty heavy story beats that are going to cause a lot of people to be frustrated when they watch it. So, if you want to avoid story stuff, definitely don't watch the trailer. Don't watch this video either. So, go ahead and close out now if you want to remain unspoiled. However, I have already spoiled myself with this, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of a newcomers analysis, so to speak. I don't really normally do analysis of this type where I go through and pause the video frame by frame, try to find all the secrets, all the new information that I can gather for the game. That's not really what I normally do, but I figured I'd try it out today, so that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Obviously, we start with the Switch intro, and then we fade in from the sky. So a little bit of a nice nod. Okay, so to get some perspective on where we are currently floating somewhere probably just south of the Great Plateau, because if you look over on the left side of the screen, you can kind of see behind this floating island, that's Death Mountain, right? And then if you look down here, you'll see this is the Bridge of Hylia, the Great Bridge of Hylia, as well as Lake Hylia, I believe. I could be wrong about that. It's been a while since I've looked at the Breath of the Wild map. In fact, why don't I just... I realize I spelled that wrong, but that's fine. It's close enough. So, Lake Hylia, Great Bridge of Hylia, and then Death Mountain is up here. Excuse me, that's the it's the forest. So I imagine we're probably flying somewhere along this track, looking towards Necluda and Hateno over here. Or wait, no, over here is Hateno. This is, yeah. So we're probably flying, I'd say, along a track like this, if I had to guess. Go ahead and full screen this again. And then you can see we have the new towers. There's one right here with the spotlights. There's one off in the distance over there. And we have all of our different flying islands, which we haven't been officially confirmed that these are using Zonai technology to fly, but given the stylistic choices of the architecture and the name of the items that we saw dropping from the I know they're not called Guardians, constructs, the Zonai constructs, I believe. We can say with high confidence that the technology of these islands is from Zonai technology. And I want to point out one thing. In the first attempt that I made for this video, I said that it's possible these islands came up from the ground, came down from the sky, were kind of just moving over Hylia as, or sorry, Hyrule as they just kind of float, they just kind of like wafted in. But I think personally what happened is much like how Link can teleport using Sheikah technology, going from a tower to a shrine, or the shrine to the waypoint, or a waypoint to a tower, or wherever he wants to teleport. I think that's what we are going to see with these islands. I believe they are going to sort of warp in to the skies above Hyrule, using Zonai technology, the Zonai variant of Sheikah warping, because apparently my Zelda lore is admittedly rusty, so I am by no means an expert, but apparently the Zonai are even more ancient than the Sheikah, and it's possible that the Sheikah derived some of their advanced technology from the Zonai. And that includes the Guardians, I would imagine. It's possible we may learn in the story that the Guardians came from the Sheikah adaptation of Zonai magics and technology. And I think that that's what we'll see, because the Sheikah technology, as far as we're aware, can only really teleport a few people to specific locations. And if they derived their technology from the Zonai, then we would expect the teleportation technology to be much more advanced, which would mean that you would be able to have entire masses of land, like what we're seeing in the skies over here, being able to teleport, right? That's just a theory. It's completely unconfirmed, with no basis in logic other than just kind of rumors and hearsay. It's possible I'm wrong. Obviously, we don't know anything, and we won't know anything until May 12th when we play the games for the first times ourselves. I will probably be doing a playthrough. It will be I guess we'll call it a let's play. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So obviously, like I said, we got our Death Mountain. Over there is the labyrinth that sits above, not Akala. I guess it is Akala. It's, we'll go ahead and tab over. It's this right here. Like, each of the different labyrinths, excuse me, you can kind of see there's the giant cubes flying in the sky where each of them lived. So, yeah, it's interesting to see that it's kind of sitting over there, that big cube. So we're likely seeing a labyrinth right here. So it'll be interesting. All right. Going through, we've got these pillars of green gems, green flames, green energy. We're not quite sure. There's one of the Zonai constructs we're talking about, and then, of course, we got a choo-choo. The video is currently on my 2K monitor, and even though we're playing it in 1080p, I still get a little bit of blurriness, so it's hard to tell. Up there is one of the new things that will take the place of the shrines. It's got the little green swirling energy. Looks like there's something on top of that rock right there, and it looks like the choo-choo is actually attacking the construct, or the construct is attacking the choo-choo. It's kind of interesting to see that there's going to be some internal conflict between the Hylians in the form of Zelda, or Zelda, Link, and our allies, as well as the Zonai constructs and Zonai stuff. And we saw in the gameplay trailer that there are some friendly Zonai constructs and there are some enemy Zonai constructs, so it'll be interesting to figure out what's going on there, why some of them like us and why they don't. And then, of course, there's obviously the wildlife being controlled by Ganon's Malice. There's another type of a construct. This one has what appears to be an axe, so it's possible this one's one of the friendly ones, because we see a lot of NPCs out in the wild in Breath of the Wild that just do normal, daily kind of just whatever, right? They're just passive and they do what they gotta do, so. Alright, so we got Link with a new tunic on, longer hair, so it's likely... I'm gonna get into a theory, and this theory is going to be controversial, but it requires me to show you something. Oh, yeah, and there's one of those... Oh, there we go. Where's my mouse? There it is. See right there? There's one of those shrine things that I was talking about where it's got little green power going with it. Alright. Here we go. So, we can see Link has what appears to be a petrified arm with Zonai tattoos or Zonai corruption creeping across his body. Obviously, over there is some sort of what I would guess is a pool of malice, and I'll show you why later on in the trailer. But if we get closer, we can actually see, if I can get a few frames back, the nails on this arm are actually longer than Link's normal nails, and the skin color itself is darkened. And I'll get to why that's important later in the trailer, but I just want you to keep that in your back pocket for now. This arm right here is corrupted, in my personal belief. Yeah, see how these are pointed off and his normal nails aren't. Also, the hair is longer, significantly longer than in Breath of the Wild, or even than what we see in the introduction cutscenes of Tears of the Kingdom. And then we've got the Zonai glyph going off on the ground. There's a bunch of these laying around. I know they called them different things, and different people call them different things. I'm going to go with glyph because it is what most archaeologists would call this type of technology, or not technology, excuse me, symbology. I know there are some that are in South America. I don't know specifically where in South America, or Central America. Excuse me if I'm my geography and archaeology is lacking. I'm a computer science guy, not a massive history buff, so please, I do apologize if I get this wrong. But they would call this a glyph, most likely. So I'm going to stick with the term glyph. And there's that same pool of malice we were seeing earlier, plus another one, plus a tower. Kind of hard to see with fog. Looks like there's a fire going off down there, or like campfire. Okay, better look at the towers. It is possible that the Zonai technology dropped these towers, or that these towers raised up from the ground. Um, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Obviously, you've got fog of war type stuff going on with these clouds. They've got lightning going on inside of them, so that's meant to obscure our vision from what's going on within the Sky Islands before we can go to them. Alright, anything interesting here? Looks like that's one of those shrines we were seeing earlier, but it's been cleared because you don't see any of the green energy above it anymore. So that's interesting that we see that, because that is definitely the same shape we were seeing earlier. If I go back and you see the shape right there, right? It's kind of almost a pointed egg shape with a ring around it and the swirling energy. Still got that ring around it. Pointed egg shape, but no swirling energy. So it looks like this person has cleaned it up. And then over here at the top, you can see the etches of the glyph that we saw, or maybe not the same glyph. Sorry, neighbors running with their fancy little cars. It's the same energy etched into the surface of the land. It may not be the same specific glyph we saw earlier, but it's just interesting that we're seeing it over there. Okay, another thing that I wanted to kind of point out is we don't see the divine beasts in here, so we don't know what happened to them. We also don't know how long the gap in time is between when the initial cutscene that we saw, the very first one that was released, where Zelda and Link were exploring some ruins beneath Hyrule and find that mummified corpse. We don't know the amount of time that passed between then and when this Link is running around, if this is the same Link. It should be the same Link. I don't have confirmation on that, but the hair growth would suggest, at the very least, a minimum of a couple of weeks that he's been, asleep, unconscious, dead even. I mean, he's come back to life once already. They used the Shrine of Resurrection, so who's to say they didn't use some Zonai technology this time? Or maybe he just got stuck down in the caverns underneath Hyrule for a period of time, and that's why his hair is longer. We don't know what's going on with Link right now. This is an interesting structure right here. I don't recall seeing anything in Breath of the Wild quite like this before. I'm having a hard time placing us, but it looks like these are the Gerudo Highlands and Plateaus. And no, I don't think that's accurate though, because this is too green for that to be the... Okay, here's another thing. This is definitely gotta be Hateno, because Lanayru's right there, and you see another tower. Things are growing up a lot more. People are coming back in. Everybody's kind of... Hyrule is rebuilding. The land is healing. See a lot more people walking around. Some interesting structures that look to be mushroom inspired. Okay. This is obviously what would have been Castletown at one point, but it's the ruins of Castletown outside of Hyrule Castle. See some tents being set up for reconstruction purposes, I would imagine. Obviously, it looks like all the malice is gone from here, which is interesting, as well as I can't see a single ancient guardian, be it a guardian that has legs or not. So it looks like the guardian situation has been taken care of one way or another. I imagine when we defeated Calamity Ganon at the end of Breath of the Wild, depending on which version you play, it shouldn't matter because ultimately the result is the same. Calamity Ganon is no more. And then Dark Beast Ganon is defeated, and Zelda does her sun magic, essentially, to burn out the malice incarnate, right? Obviously, she doesn't get all of the malice, as we see at the cutscene that I keep referencing. I will drop a link to all of the videos, as well as this one, in the description, just so that you guys have a good uh, background of what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's interesting that there's no Guardians here. I mean, it's not entirely surprising. But you'd think that even if it was just like a couple of years, it would take a while to move all of the Guardians, because they can't be too, they gotta be heavy, and right? Okay, there's another better view of the shrine, and that circular thing that I was talking about earlier, excuse me, which appears to be, I think it almost looks like an arena, a coliseum, or something like that, that's fallen, but it's fallen on its side and then embedded itself into this area. And if I'm not mistaken, these four peaks and the one that Link is currently on should be surrounding Kakariko Village. So I think this is the entrance to Kakariko down here. Or it's the exit. It's the north exit, because we've got Hyrule Castle right there, which would make this the slopes of Death Mountain, and this is the lake that leads over to Zoro's domain off to the side of the screen that we can't see. So yeah, this is definitely Kakariko Village down underneath the bottom of the screen where we can't quite see it. Yeah, here we go. See, down here is going to be Kakariko. Oh man, sorry about that. Let's see, some more pillars and stuff. Interesting. Okay, I didn't quite notice this the first time I was watching through, but that appears to be a maelstrom of some kind above a mountain. I don't know what mountain that is. And I think, given where we are, this is the path that, hold on. Okay, so I can kind of understand where we are right now. I see it. So this is behind us, from where the camera is currently standing, is the, not the Lost Woods, but that zone that was covered in darkness in Breath of the Wild. So we are in, hold on. The bridge that you were currently looking on is over here. So that maelstrom we're seeing... Okay, so that's that. Oh no, look at that! The labyrinth is still there, so the boxes that are above the labyrinth are new. Interesting. But that would put that maelstrom that we're looking at the top of Hebra. Interesting. Okay, okay. Cool. I like it. I mess with it. I'm here for it. Interesting weather conditions. I'd love to see what we can get up there, right? Obviously, there's going to be multiple ways to get up there. I mean, flying machines is one of them. Using the new Ascend power to kind of zip above the roofs that we have, assuming that the roofs that are above us are within range. I don't know if we'll have access to the champion abilities in this one. Probably not, because they all kind of were at peace at the end of Breath of the Wild. For the true ending, and if you didn't get the true ending, then the champions you didn't put at peace would never have given you their abilities to begin with. So either way, you have the champion abilities from the moment you lay them to rest and defeat the blights up until the moment that Dark Beast Ganon dies, because after that point, I imagine the spirits of the four champions go off to wherever it is that Zelda characters go when they pass on, and with them, their abilities go away. The only exception to that would be, oh gosh, what's his name? Daruk's grandson. Oh, Yunobu. That's right. I think Yunobu's the only one that'll retain any form of a power, since it was passed down to him. We may see You'll see it later on in the trailer, but there are certain characters that show up that fight with Link. Uh, I say with. That's a bad way of phrasing it. They fight alongside Link. Okay, so some... Oh yeah, this part threw me off. Okay, we're gonna go full screen for this one, because I really need to observe what's going on here. Okay, so obviously this is out in Gerudo somewhere, the Gerudo Desert. Tons of different things going on in the desert. We got a little shrine here. What is this? Because it immediately cuts over to Hyrule Castle being lifted up into the sky. So this is most likely early game. Obviously, you can see the Sheikah down here, the Sheikah tribe, rebuilding, it seems like. What is this? Some sort of... Okay, I'm going to put forth a theory. Later in this trailer, you will see that we get confirmation that the bad guy that we're fighting against is, in fact, Ganondorf. And because of that, I'm going to posit something. Zelda is trapped in Hyrule Castle, and I think Ganondorf, after he regains some of his old power, comes out to the Gerudo Desert and does this, raises this up. Because he's a male, he's Gerudo male, right? He's supposed to be king of the Gerudo at one point, right? So it's going to be interesting. I could be wrong. That could happen early game or it could happen late game. I think the Hyrule Castle raising up in the sky is definitely early game. Okay, so obviously, call back to Breath of the Wild's Blood Moon. We've got a picture of what appears to be a very fiery, red-haired, tall figure. Oh, they cut it the frame after. But we're gonna slow this down real quick. 1 second. Oh, they don't allow you to. Oh no. Oh, there it is. Playback speed. All right, we're gonna mute this because I don't want to hear stretched. But I want to get that last frame. One second. Because I want to show you. There it is. Maybe one more. Yeah, no, they cut immediately back to black before you can actually see. They don't want to reveal too much too early in the trailer. Obviously a very cinematic shot. You still see some malice floating around. You've got the green light going off. So this is probably going to be... if I had to guess, this is going to happen before they find the mummified corpse beneath Hyrule. And this is how they find it. Zelda trips, Link chases after her, they fall. But I could be wrong because you already see the... You already see the malice infecting his hand, which is interesting. Alright, we're going to go back through a little bit real quick, because obviously this is sinkholes, some more Zonai tech. Ooh, interesting! It looks like when you approach the new temples, they turn into portals, so that's interesting. We'll have to understand what that means for us. This appears to be almost entirely underground. That's pretty cool. So it's ancient Zonai temples underneath Hyrule. I mean, no surprise. We found the mummy underneath Hyrule Castle, most likely. Flying. Okay, so this is probably up in the maelstrom above Hebra. So we've got a flying boat. Several flying boats, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably 5 out in the background up back there. You can barely see. Excuse me. Some cool gameplay. You get a glide suit. That one's pretty cool. Some more Divine Beast shenanigan stuff. This appears to be one of the Sky Labyrinths, so there's going to be a more verticality to these mazes, which will be fun to deal with. Some more, group battles, because we see the farmers over here, and right there fighting against the bokoblins as well. And then, of course, Link has his stick. I don't know exactly what you'd call that, because it's not quite a spear, probably. given the way he's wielding it. Okay, so I don't quite know what this is that we're looking at right here. I'm going to make a guess, an educated guess, that this is an ancient Zonai that has come back somehow. Don't know why, don't know how. But the reason I'm saying that is, one, if you would look at the artwork adorning this character's hair, as well as the style of necklace that they're wearing, I'm going to assume this is a Zonai. Because I've never encountered a Zonai in any of the Breath of the Wild game, or not, excuse me, any of the Zelda games. I only really super got into Zelda hardcore when I got into Breath of the Wild, so I am a newbie. I will admit that. I have played a bit of Ocarina, but I think I get lost at like the Spirit Temple. Never played Majora's. Never finished Majora's, actually, but it is what it is. I will admit there's a lot that I can learn from the stories. So let's see what I think is a Zonai. Obviously, we get Epona. What a glorious shot. Okay. More Zonai technology being awoken in what appears to be a darkness zone. As you can see in the background, we've got no sense of surroundings, so it's going to be kind of mirroring that forest. And then another massive Zonai construct, which is probably going to be kind of mirroring the difficulty of the Guardians with the size and fight mechanics of a Hinox, I would imagine, just given how large the scale seems to be. Probably a mini-boss battle. So this cutscene right here, for sure, has to happen before Link finds the bottom, or he finds the mummy, right? Because his arm is still good. And this is the Breath of the Wild character model. So it looks like they're in the process of restoring Hyrule Castle. Obviously, they had to fix the floor, restore the windows, get the banners back. Everything looks nice and clean. Sparkly, even. So, before we get to the audio, Princess Zelda appears to be trapped in some very well-kept, but still ancient Zonai ruins somewhere.
Zelda, we rely on your knight and that legendary sword he carries.
So, someone is talking to Zelda, saying that they rely, or we as in all of Hyrule. It could be they, a specific group of people, or we as in the totality of Hyrule, relies on Link and the Master Sword.
Our last line of defense will be Link.
Now, what's interesting here is you see what appears to be Hylian clothing in addition to Zonai adornments. And of course, Zelda here has interesting earrings and necklaces which mirror the Zonai architecture. So I imagine this is a Zonai that's survived all these years, that's been working to keep Ganon, or even Demise, trapped. And they haven't been able to keep him completely contained, which is why we've had to go through the past cycles of rebirth and have to put an end to Ganon. So, and then we see a black hand here.
Link.
Oh, hold on. Did y'all catch that? There it is, the 3 lines. Oh, she blushing hard.
Link.
Okay, so we see he's got the petrified hand on this shot. He's riding on top of a really cool glider. In case y'all haven't missed it, you can do fuse. So I imagine you have to actually drop the shield in order to fuse the shield to the sword, but you can fuse a sword, or a shield, excuse me, to the sword that you have equipped. And use it to parry. Some rotating stuff. Oh boy, those enemies. Okay, so this is what I was talking about earlier, right? You get people that'll fight with you. And so it looks like we have a Rito fighter with us. We can carry people. I imagine this is probably a mini quest. Also, the soundtrack in this specific section of the the video is amazing. The saxophone going off, marvelous. This is pretty cool. Oh, taste his own medicine. Okay, so we're using a rocket. A couple bokoblins building their own new towers. They're probably stealing resources from the Hylians to build their own stuff. This is a tower that I've been seeing in some other different cutscenes. I imagine it mirrors something above one of the labyrinths that we saw earlier. Obviously, Death Mountain's right there with what appears to be malice coming out of it instead of fire. So that's interesting. And then there's also this fluid, which does not appear to be water. Fighting on minecarts. Obviously, the bokoblins riding on a talus, while we've got our own machination. Getting the robot Link. We got the chanting going off backwards again. So he's firing an arrow with a ruby on it. Interesting. Got some laser things going on. Okay. So I imagine this is probably Teba's daughter. And we're fighting with her against this creature. Whatever this creature turns out to be. Above Hebra. Okay. Now we're getting to the point that I want to get to.
I know why I am here. It's something only I can do.
So obviously
Do
we
not
see...
look away. You witness a king's revival.
Alright, that right there. What was happening to Link, and what was being said, but more importantly, who was saying it.
Do not look away.
Do not look away.
You witness a king's revival.
You witness a king's revival. Right? So the narrator right there is almost certainly Ganondorf. Plus, I'm going to mute this so we can watch what's going on with Link without being distracted by the music and the audio. We see Malice tracing down what appears to be the blade of the Master Sword and onto Link's arm, right? Let me slow this down real quick. Yep, there's the Master Sword, there's Link's hand. And then it goes up and corrupts his arm. Right? So, Link's arm is corrupted with malice. We don't know how it goes from being corrupted with malice to whatever. We do know that the Master Sword was broken because of this attack, which is going to be interesting how we fix it. If we fix it. If we have the choice to or not to, right?
Revival. And the birth of his new
world. So, I'll give you one guess as to whose arm that belongs to.
world.
So, yeah, that's, we're definitely getting Ganondorf. Interesting new enemies, which this appears to be like a Molduga that could swim through rock? But not?
Okay, let's go!
Okay, hold up.
Okay, let's go!
Interesting, interesting. So right here we can see that this is the same jewel that Zelda had when she said, I know what I must do, or I know what I'm here, it's something only I can do. Along with the same earrings. We have blonde hair. We don't quite have the same eye color as Zelda, but this facial structure is not Zelda. But she's using the same magic, the same sealing magic that Zelda has. Okay, we get Riju. Got some allies fighting with us.
But you are not
And then, of course, for everybody who simps for Sidon, yes, you can, in fact, ally with Sidon to fight other people.
alone. Link.
You get Riju, you get Sidon. probably get Teba and his daughter, as well as who else is there? I'm missing one, and I'm gonna be mad if I don't get it. So you got one, two, three. Ah, you probably get Yonobu at one point. Ooh, get a Malice Dragon. That's pretty cool.
You are our final hope.
Okay, so this is what I was talking about. The mirroring between the... Actually...
Link. You are...
Okay, so I was wrong. Green eyes, blonde hair, this headdress, those earrings, and that necklace.
You witness.
Okay, let's go!
Interesting, interesting, interesting. Okay, so... we do have the same eyes, the same hair, the same headdress, the same earrings, and the same gem. Hot take. I think this is Zelda's mom. And I think she came back in time. Or came forward in time. Because, canonically, she dies right after giving birth to Zelda. We don't know how she dies. And we already know that time manipulation through rewind, or whatever it's called, recall, is a thing that's existing in this game. The similarities between her and Zelda are just too close for this to not be someone related to Zelda. I don't think Zelda turns into her. I think this is someone related to Zelda. So.
You are not alone.
And that voice right there is, I think that might be, I think that might be Queen Hylia. Or, not Hylia, excuse me. Zelda's mom, because, Queen Hyrule, I guess, because King Rome Bosphorus was Hyrule, so she would be Queen Hyrule.
Link.
Better shot looking at the dragon.
You are our final hope.
Okay. Alright. So we've got an interesting background going on here in the title sequence. We see what appears to be Ganondorf leading his army of minions and led in advance by Malice against an ancient tribe trying to defend. So the artwork is pretty interesting, and it looks like he's got some interesting things going on in the sky too. What's cool about the dragon though is we know of 3 dragons already. Firash, Dinral, and Nadra. But they're all friendly, more or less. So it's interesting to see that we're getting an actual honest-to-God dragon. And, you know, obviously the mirroring between Ghidorah from the... God, I'm blanking on this. From Godzilla franchise, having a 3-headed dragon. And then, of course, this has a 3-headed dragon, so I'd have to do some research into 3-headed dragons in mythology from Japanese culture to make the connection. Because I don't want to say that this is based off of Ghidorah, because it's likely they're both based off of something that goes further back. But it's just, the parallels are kind of interesting. Ghidorah used lightning. This appears to be a fire-based dragon. It's got 3 heads, but each head has 1 eye, which appears to be made of the same Malice eyeballs that we've been seeing.
You are our final hope.
And then Zelda holding the Master Sword at some point, after she made the fall, most likely, because she has her Zonai jewelry. And back to the title sequence. So it's going to be a good time. Let's see what else we can pick out of this. It's probably just going to go straight to the date. Oh, wait, no, that's right. So, at some point, this...
Link.
Okay, so we can see the plateaus in Firash over here. I don't know if this is a tomb or if it's an altar. We'll have to find out later.
You must find me.
Interesting. And then, of course, we get the release date, which nothing too much to reveal. So what I was going to say, with the hand, right? Obviously, the hand has been corrupted by Ganon in that cutscene we saw right around here. You see the arm being corrupted, right? So what I think happened is Link ended up getting corrupted by Ganon. Zelda and Link fell down while Castle Hyrule was raised into the sky. Zelda and Link fell into some Zonai ruins. The Master Sword was destroyed. The sword ended up falling with Zelda. Link had to explore some Zonai ruins, and at some point, he came across Zonai technology that reacted to the malice that's in his arm, and has to defeat the constructs, and then eventually finds a sentient Zonai construct, or even a living Zonai itself, which then realized, wait a minute, this isn't Ganon, this is a Hylian. So it was able to help cure the Zonai, or the Malice corruption, but it still already had its effect on his arm. And that's how Link is able to start controlling Zonai technology, because the power that's in his arm now has been converted from Malice into Zonai magics. And so he's able to get these new abilities using the Zonai magics, and that's why some of the Zonai attack him, because they only sense the Malice, but then other ones that are still thinking and capable of discerning, the difference between a Hylian and Ganon would be able to detect, oh wait, this is totally just a normal guy, right? Obviously he's not normal guy, he's the hero of time, so to speak, right? Or not hero of time, that's the title that goes to Link from Ocarina of Time, but he is a Hylian, that is the prophesied hero, right? So they'll be able to at least differentiate between him and Ganon, but the non-sentient ones will just kind of think, or they won't think, they'll just be like, Malice detected, need to destroy. So that's probably what's going on there. So we've got a weird relationship with the Zonai constructs and Malice. And then I think when Zelda falls, she ends up getting teleported somewhere when all of the Zonai technology warps in. So that would imply that the Zonai technology probably existed under the ground, and then something happened, triggering a mass teleportation of all the Zonai ruins into the sky, if I had to guess. And that something happening might be Link getting his Malice removed and activating the Zonai technology for the first time in millennia. And since they were all activated, and he has no idea what he's doing, he's never experienced Zonai technology before, he does whatever, it cleanses him of the Malice, but also moves all this crap into the sky. And then Zelda ends up being trapped on one of these because she doesn't have a paraglider, she doesn't have the Sheikah Slate, so she's kind of stuck up there. Or maybe she does have the Sheikah Slate, but it's dead, or all of the towers have been disabled because whatever, right? Who knows? Zelda's trapped somewhere, and we gotta go find her and save her. But that's gonna be an interesting. It's gonna be an interesting game. Apparently, allegedly, it's supposed to be a darker game. Kind of meant to draw parallels between Majora's Mask and this game. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. Obviously, with Age of Calamity, or with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, a lot of people are asking the question, how does the timeline work with Age of Calamity having its own new timeline? Personally, I'm of the belief that this game, and we've already read that it is a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, I think that this game is a true direct sequel, chronologically speaking, to Breath of the Wild. I don't think that there is any time that has passed, or any significant time that's passed. It's probably only been a week or a couple of months that has passed since the end of Calamity Ganon, the fight with Dark Beast Ganon in the Hyrule Field, and whenever we start controlling Link for the first time to go down under Hyrule Castle. I would imagine that span of time is relatively short, And then another somewhat relatively short period of time passes before Link is able to escape the Zonai ruins after being corrupted by Malice, accidentally freeing Ganondorf and giving him a little bit of power in the process, which is why we see Ganondorf in this scene over here as a whole, hale, and healthy individual, no longer the mummified ruins from moments.
Revival and the birth of his new world.
Yeah, Ganondorf got buff, but no longer this shriveled up mummy that we saw in the very first trailer, but a proper, like, jacked dude that we always see. I'm not quite sure how I feel about the voice actor for Ganondorf. I kind of figured he'd be a little bit more gruff, more aggressive, but we'll have to see. The story should be good. I don't want to read too much into the story, but it's going to be a very good. Well, actually, let me think of something. Hold on. We saw... Where was it? It was... Where's that desert sequence? Hold on. I need to... I know I'm skipping around a lot. Where's that desert sequence? With all that weird stuff coming up from the ground. It's in here somewhere. This. Alright. So, I think this temple right here may have something to do with her. Because we see that we've got the Zonai architecture in the background going on, but what's interesting as well is immediately after she's charging up what appears to be Hylia's magic, and then immediately after we see a beam carving through the Gerudo Canyons and destroying what appears to be Moldugas, given the fins. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on there. Maybe there's a bunch of different new champions we have to go rescue from Zonai ruins that have been imprisoned by an ancient Ganondorf. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. Anyways, that's kind of all I've got for this video. If I decide to record my playthrough, actually, you know what? I'll leave it up to y'all. If you guys want a video of me playing Breath of the Wild, or not Breath of the Wild, excuse me, Tears of the Kingdom, playthrough, just kind of like enjoying it, learning the game, not speedrunning or anything like that, no glitch hunting, I'm nowhere near that good. I will always recommend you guys go watch Point Crow for that, or Small Ant, or you can just go to speedrun.com and look up the speedruns there, honestly. I'm not going to be doing content like that. I just play games for fun. So if you guys want me to, like, record my audio reactions to the game, I will 100% do that, but I do not like to put my face on camera as much as possible. So if you want to see me play the game without actually seeing me, and you can hear my audio reactions, well, you can set something up. Let me know in the comments. Yeah, no. Hopefully this video was entertaining for y'all. I know it's totally different than what I normally do in the form of breaking down music stuff that I normally do. Yeah, hopefully you liked it. If you did, I'll probably make a new channel for gaming stuff and migrate this video over to that new channel. But yeah, hopefully... I keep saying hopefully. I'm stalling. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a playthrough of Tears of the Kingdom with me. I will probably record however long. I'm not a professional YouTuber or streamer or anything like that, so I'll probably stream it, record what's going on in the stream as I'm playing, and then upload them as VODs to a new channel or something like that. But it's going to be very, very low effort recordings, so don't expect any high quality content. So, alright, I'll check the comments, and then on May 12th, I guess I'll either record and upload my first reaction to the game, or I'll be playing it and enjoying it with the rest of y'all while watching Point Crow. So anyways, till then, see ya.